his mom and stepdad.
She was nice to you. She said, come back, move in with us.
Right.
But soon,
We had called the cops on them, actually.
family togetherness failed.
She wanted to evict you, but it was going to take too long, so she got a restraining order against you instead.
It's just absolutely crazy, Your Honor.
Thank God.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy. Derek Handley and his girlfriend, Kelly McGuire, are suing Derek's parents, Jeffrey DeVoe and Mary Lee Bose DeVoe, for belongings and damages from a wrongful eviction.
Order. All rise. This is case number 339 on the calendar, the matter of McGuire Hanley versus Bose DeVoe. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
What's your last name?
Derek Hanley.
That's your mother?
Yes.
And who is the gentleman with her?
Stepfather.
Okay. Are you part of this action?
Yes.
Great. And this is your girlfriend?
Right.
You have a child together?
Yes.
Who's 5 years old?
Yes.
What were you doing living with your mother and your stepfather? Just listen to me.
Oh, okay, sure.
Wait, no. You're going to tell him there's only one attitude here, that's mine.
Sorry.
You're going to tell me why you and your girlfriend with a 5-year-old child were living with your mother and stepfather when you went to live there, month and year. You're going to tell me that.
Okay. It was probably about 10 years ago, I would say.
No.
10 years ago?
No, just recently.
Try not to speak to each other.
Sorry.
You've been living with your mother and your stepfather for 10 years.
No, it started off 10 years ago.
What started off?
Where I was living with them at a duplex house.
How long have you two been together?
10 years.
How long have you been living with your mother and your stepfather in the current residence before you got evicted?
We didn't get evicted, but...
6 months.
Just a shh. Did you just say to me we didn't get evicted?
Right.
Okay, good. So we didn't get evicted. You left on your own?
No.
How did you leave?
There was a false restraining order on us.
So you left because your mother and your stepfather got a restraining order against you?
A false restraining order, yes.
Okay. Now, when you were living with them, how much rent were you paying?
We started off probably...
No, not started.
Okay.
At the time that they got this restraining order and you were tossed out of the house, how long had you been living with them in the current residence?
Probably only 4. The place where we had our own.
So you had your own place?
A couple times.
So after the duplex, you were on your own for a while?
Right.
You, your girlfriend, and your daughter?
Right.
And then 4 months ago, you moved in with your mother and your stepfather?
Right.
Now, we're going to go back to the original question, why? It had to be for your economics.
Right.
Okay, because you needed a place to stay and you couldn't afford it.
No.
Well, otherwise, people usually don't go home to their mothers and stepfathers
Right.
if they can afford their own place. You know, it's like the migratory pattern of Jews. They go from New York to Florida. They never go back. Do you understand?
Yes, absolutely.
Good. So you don't go home to live... Is there something wrong with you?
No, sorry.
You don't go home to live with your mom unless you have to because of economics. So you were living on your own, the two of you, with your daughter, where?
In another town, a couple towns over. But
In
it
an
was
apartment?
Just no, it was just a small bedroom.
So you were renting a room?
Right.
Were you working?
Yes.
Was your girlfriend working?
Yes.
So why did you move with your mother and stepfather?
Well, she has a 3rd floor that's completely redone. It's at 15-foot ceilings. There's a bathroom. My daughter has her own bedroom. It's really nice. It was empty. It's been empty for the whole time we weren't there. She said, come back there. You know,
She said
it was
that you
much
were
nicer.
living.
Right, yeah.
Okay, so she was nice to you. She said, come back.
Right.
Move in with us.
Right.
Okay. And you did. So you were renting a room. So you took whatever you were living in the room.
Right.
And you moved into the 3rd floor in your mom's house.
Right.
And I'm waiting.
And what had happened was we had lived there before and it didn't work out.
Just a second. But you went back to try it again because you needed it, because you were living in one room with your daughter.
You could say that, right, yeah.
Right.
Sure.
Not I could say that. That's what you're going to say. It didn't work out before living with your mother and stepfather, so you moved out.
Right.
But things got a little cramped. You were trying to move back, and your daughter is 5. She was going to a school.
Right.
And it was a better school where your mom lives. That's what you said in your papers.
Sure.
Right? That's what you...
Right.
I remember reading about it.
Okay.
So now you moved in, and 4 months later, she had to get a restraining order against you, or at least asked for one, because she wanted to evict you, but it was going to take too long, so she got a restraining order against you instead. Okay? Tell me what happened.
What had happened was I had just got home from work a week prior. We had called the cops on them, actually.
So you called the police on your mother and stepfather.
Right.
Now, you're living in the house, not paying any rent.
No, I was paying rent.
How much?
I was paying $100 a week.
And you were up to date on your rent?
Yes.
Okay, let me tell you what you wrote in your complaint. Place near them. She told us to pay $100 per month, and we could stay for 1 year. We agreed and moved in. She took our door off the hinges because she tried to collect $100 weekly instead of monthly. You just told me that the rent was $100 a week.
That's what yeah.
But not in your complaint. In your complaint, you said it was $100 a month.
There was supposed to be no rent. She told me that we could save money completely when we were going to move there.
Would you show him this, please, Officer Bird? That's your signature.
Okay.
That's the girlfriend's signature.
Sure.
That's what it says.
Okay.
Yes.
So you came home from work and she told you she wanted the $100 a week instead of maybe $100 a month that you were giving them. And what happened?
Well, the week before, I said we had called the cops.
On them.
On them, right.
Because?
Because she was just coming up there harassing us.
Harassing you for what?
She just was...
Did she ask you for money?
No, she was just harassing us to do errands and stuff, as well as money, yes, as well as money, just a bunch of stuff. We just didn't want to be bothered. She was coming right up there, you know. She left us notes as well. We have them here while we were staying there. Just crazy notes. It's just absolutely crazy, Your Honor.
Then go.
I know.
You're not stuck there like glue.
Right, exactly.
No, you weren't paying the rent. According to you, you were supposed to, according to what you just told me now twice, because I asked you twice.
Okay.
You were supposed to pay $100 a week, and here you said $100 a month. She came upstairs, she was harassing you. One of the things she was harassing you about was rent and money. Okay, so you called the police on your mother.
Right.
And then?
And then they came and said, you have to go through the eviction order if you want them out.
And then?
They said, leave us alone. Then I went to work the next week, 5 o'clock at night. I came home. We're upstairs, minding our own business. A knock on the door. I was like, what's going on? So I went down. It was a marshal saying she had to leave right this instant. 2 days later, I get served saying that I hit her. I never touched her.
Good.
Ever.
Now, where are you living?
We're living at a studio place.
Nice. Away from your mother.
Away from her, exactly.
Away from your mother. Very good. If you don't like living with your mother, move out. How old are you?
Exactly.
How old are you?
37.
37. Time to be on your own.
Right.
With your girlfriend.
Absolutely.
It takes you a long time to make up your mind. What stuff do you claim your mother kept from you? Because the marshal came, the marshal allowed you to take stuff with you, and you were only coming from a room. Do you remember you told me that? So now I'd like you to tell me what stuff that your mother disposed of or kept from you.
There was a room with an attic where I had a lot of stuff, but I have pictures here.
Did she leave?
Yeah, she had no choice.
Did she take your daughter with her?
Yes.
Where did she go?
We had to go to a hotel.
And did you, after that date, do you remember what that date was?
I believe it was around
5/16.
5/16.
After May 16th, pay careful attention, did you ever go back to your mother's house to get any of your property?
I went back once.
On what date?
Probably a week later.
23rd.
23rd.
And who did you go back with?
By myself. I called the police and they gave me
an escort.
An escort, yes.
An escort. So you went back by yourself in your car?
Yes.
And you took property from there?
What I could take in a little car, yeah.
We're talking about on the 23rd, Mr. Handley. You were there with a police escort. Did anybody prevent you with the police escort? Because I call the police to find out. Did either your mother or your stepfather prevent you from taking anything else that belonged to you on the 23rd?
No, they didn't prevent me, but I noticed some stuff was missing.
The case is dismissed. We're done.
No, please, can I?
We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
They weren't working, and they didn't pay any rent.
We've been in a hotel. We're still in a hotel, you know?
Didn't pay $100 a month, didn't pay anything.
It's just, it's not right.
I guess we're done with it.
Nothing.
Nothing. We're not going to...
All parties in the matter of Smith versus Smith. Step forward.
22-year-old Jamaica Smith is suing her father, Robert Smith, for defrauding her on an apartment, and for ruining her credit.
Ms. Smith, the defendant is your father, and according to your complaint, he, without your knowledge, rented an apartment in your name and then skipped out on the lease. As a result of that, they are coming after you for the remainder of the lease, or for whatever damages they're coming after you for. Your father says that you were supposed to move into this apartment together, and after the lease was signed, you had a change of heart, and he couldn't maintain the apartment himself, so he moved out. So the fact that the lease was broken was really your fault. Is that your defense, sir?
Yes.
All right.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
They also provided me more documentations that has his information on it and not mine.
Well, if it has his information on it and not yours, then you're not liable under the lease. If it has his information and not yours, what does it have to do with you?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Jamaica Smith says her father, Robert Smith, unlawfully used her identity to secure an apartment.
To move into this apartment together. And after the lease was signed, you had a change of heart. And he couldn't maintain the apartment himself, so he moved out. So the fact that the lease was broken was really your fault. Is that your defense, sir?
Yes.
All right. What kind of work do you do?
Right now I work as a nanny.
You work as a nanny for whom?
For care.com, and her name is Rebecca. I work for her.
How many days a week?
5 days.
Hours?
32 hours.
So you work part-time?
Yes.
What do you do with the other time?
Nothing. I'm home.
With whom?
My mother.
Always lived with your mom?
Not always. We lived in Maryland. She had moved down to North Carolina in 2015. I had stayed in Maryland for school. So I lived in Maryland about 3 years by myself. And financially, it was hard being so young and still in school. So I had moved back down to North Carolina with my mother this year in July.
When you were living in Maryland, who were you living with?
I stayed with a couple friends.
So you had roommates?
Yeah, but I stayed with their parents.
Did you pay rent?
$100 a month.
What were you doing in Maryland?
I was working, and I was also going to school.
Which school?
Howard Community College.
Where does your father live?
He lived in various places. He lived in College Park, and the last...
In Maryland?
Yes. The last known...
So when you were living in... Did you see your father regularly?
It was here and there. It wasn't a consistent thing.
Where was he living?
He lived in College Park, and he also lived in Wheaton, Maryland.
Did you ever go to his house?
Yes, I visited.
In which house?
In Wheaton, Maryland.
Where is this apartment?
It's in College Park, Maryland.
You have a copy of the lease?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to take a look at it. This is an unsigned lease.
Yeah, that's the copy that they had forwarded to me. I had called them and asked for a copy of the lease, and that's what they provided for me.
I would like to see a copy of the signed lease. So we're going to recall this, and we're going to get a copy of the signed lease. I want to see who signed this lease.
Okay.
Okay, we'll recall it.
Parties are excused. This case will be recalled.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Your Honor, she was there when we go get the keys.
Listen to me. I'm not even getting there.
Okay.
She said she knew nothing about it.
Okay.
That's what you're telling me, right?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. In a case earlier today, Jamaica Smith says her father, Robert Smith, unlawfully used...
Judge, this is a recall of case 350 in the matter of Smith versus Smith. Parties are reminded you're still under oath.
Miss Smith, I am advised that you do not have a signed copy of the lease, that you were not able to get that. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so let me tell you that what your legal problem is with me. Your case says that your father, without your knowledge, signed a lease in your name that obligated you to pay rent. That was without your knowledge, and he did that. That was fraudulent, and as a result of that, you're stuck with the bill, and it's affected your credit. Your father denies that. Your obligation is to bring me proof that he did the acts that you complain of, which means he signed a lease in your name. That's simple. Without proof that he signed a lease in your name, I can't find against him. Do you understand?
Correct.
Now, if the reason you can't get a lease because the company, certainly this company that you gave me, this fresh piece of paper that's anybody can fill in the top of this, is not signed by anybody. Right, the last page is blank. The management company would have to have a signed copy. The management company who turned it over, if it was ever turned over to collections, would have to give it to a court to get a judgment to turn it over to collections. Do you understand?
Yes.
So I'm to continuing with this case. Do we understand each other?
Yes, Your Honor. When I had called them and I asked for them to send me over a signed copy, she told me that everything, the lease, even the application, was done electronically. So it was signed with the e-signature, not a handwritten signature. And she said it was done through their old system, through EES, so they don't have access to it. But I called back, and they also provided me more documentations that also I can sit here and provide for you that has his information on it and not mine.
Well, if it has his information on it and not yours, then you're not liable under the lease. If it has his information and not yours, what does it have to do with you?
It has my name on it, but he wrote his contact information, he wrote his job, his income, his annual income, and I even have my W-2s to show that my annual income.
Just a second. It has where he works, but it has your, what's your first name?
Jamaica.
Jamaica. It has Jamaica Smith, and then it has all of his contact information?
Yes. It has his phone number, his email. It never had my phone number. I never was able to even be able to get in contact with them because they never had my number. They never had my email. It was all his.
What you're asking me to do is rely on hearsay to enter a judgment against him, that the company now uses an electronic lease and nobody has, it's an e-signature, but an
It would be.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Are you in a family dispute? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
What you're asking me to do is rely on hearsay to enter a judgment against him, that the company now uses an electronic lease and nobody has, it's an e-signature, but an e-signature would still be a signature, would it not?
It would be.
You sign it, but then you can send it back. You can email it back or scan it and email it back, or you can fax it back, but it still has a signature on it.
I've talked to multiple people, and they've all told me the same thing.
Well,
and this isn't the first act that he's done. He's also done this with a loan bank before, and I have documentations for that as well.
I can't help you unless you furnish me with his signature, and I suggest you get it. So where do you come from?
North Carolina.
I'm going to strongly suggest that you go to this company, and this company is in North Carolina, are they not?
It's in Maryland.
This company is in Maryland.
He lives in Maryland. That's where the apartment is from, Maryland.
That's right. You were living there before you went back to live with your mother.
Right.
Only you know whether you stuck your daughter with the lease.
No, I didn't.
Okay, then we're done. But I'm dismissing your case without prejudice. You get the information and go. If you sign something electronically, I can't believe that there isn't a signature on it.
Your Honor, she was there when we go get the keys.
Listen to me. I'm not even getting there.
Okay.
Doesn't have a lease.
Right.
She said she knew nothing about it.
Okay.
So that's what you're telling me, right?
Yes.
That's what your papers say, that you knew nothing about this apartment.
I can provide documentation as well.
Okay, we're done. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I'm glad the verdict come back the way it did, because I know I didn't do anything wrong to her.
It just hurts because I just wanted justice, because I know I didn't do this.
I don't have anything against my daughter. Anytime she's ready to talk to me, I will help her pay the bill if that's what she wants.
And he's a terrible man. He's done this to me for so long, and I just want justice to get what I deserve.
But I'm not going to sit here and let them come at me like that, because all the evidence is there.
It caused me an emotional distress. It hurts enough that it's my own dad. Like, it hurts me a lot.
Terrible, because anybody that knows me and know them, I always take care of them.
Him being my dad, you know, he promised me things, and I give him the benefit of the doubt at the time because it's my father.
Even now, I will help her do whatever it is to clear the bill up. But instead of she follow her mother's footsteps, and this...
Who did this to me? And so I gave him the benefit of the doubt, and he screwed me over.
Always. I have 6 children. I love all of them. I treat all of them good.
Just, I want no communication with him at all, and it's not over. This isn't over.
This is not going to go well.
Stubborn apartment owners get a grilling.
Are you allowed to rent it? Something is not right, so let's get to the answer. I'm waiting.
But was the money
She was paying you $1,500 a month rent.
too tempting to pass up?
If you were doing something that was against the rules, I'm not going to hear your case.
Oh, then I understand that, then.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy. Mason and Aisha Mackay are suing their former tenant, Dahlia Charlemagne, for unpaid rent, attorney fees, a security deposit, and assault.
Order. All rise.
It's case number 328 on the calendar, the matter of Mackay versus Charlemagne.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be...
Did you find the apartment that you rented from Mr. and Mrs. Mackay?
Aisha and I actually worked together, and while at work, we were talking, and...
Okay, just a second. So you knew each other before?
Yes, we did. We worked together still.
For how long?
I started with the company in December of 2015, so at that point, it was about 11 months. We didn't really know each other that well, though.
When you got to talking about their apartment, I'd like to know what the discussion was.
Well, at that point, she had just purchased a home. So
She purchased a house?
Yes, they had purchased a house.
And?
And I was looking for a place. So I remember, like, one day we were speaking, we were in my cubicle, and I was like, oh my God, I just remember you're moving. Like, is there any way possible that I could possibly, like, you know, take over the lease or something? Is that place going to be available? And that's how the conversation basically got started.
Is there any way that I can take over the lease?
Yes.
And what did she say?
She said she would speak to her husband about it.
And?
Eventually, I followed up with her, asking her, like, you know, what did your husband say? It took a little while for me to speak to him, but then...
Did you have a written lease with them?
Yes, I did.
I'd like to see it.
Sure.
You were the landlord, you both signed this, and she was paying you $1,500 a month rent. Is that correct?
No, I wasn't the landlord. My husband was the landlord. I did not sign that at all.
You did?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, you didn't own this apartment. You were leasing this apartment. Is that correct?
We own shares in it. It's a co-op.
Are you allowed to rent it? Something is not right, so let's get to the answer.
Okay.
Are you allowed to rent it?
Yes, you are allowed to allow other people to live in your apartment as long as management is aware of it.
Listen, this is not going to go well. Something happened because you didn't have permission to have the defendant as a tenant in your co-op. And we're going to get to that answer. We're going to get to where I'm going because I see your complaint and I have her cross-complaint. So is the answer yes, you need permission of the co-op to rent, or no, you don't? I'm waiting.
Yes, you do.
So you need permission of the co-op to rent to anyone?
Yes.
I've lived in co-ops, and usually when you need permission of the co-op to rent, they like to interview the prospective tenant.
Yes.
So you have to fill out an application.
I'm assuming so, yes.
Well, does he know? I mean, you both know. You both know. Asked her, could you move your stuff around, please, because we're not supposed to be renting. There came a time when you told her she wasn't supposed to be there. I want you to tell me about that. And don't shift from foot to foot. Are you looking surprised as if I'm talking about something that you don't know anything about?
I'm trying to figure out how do my co-op and my agreement with my co-op have to do with the agreement I had with this young lady. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Everything.
Oh,
you want to know what
no
it has
problem.
to do with? Because if you were doing something that was against the rules, I'm not going to hear your case.
Oh, then I understand that, then.
Now you understand? Because if you're not supposed to be renting to the defendant, and she doesn't know that you're not supposed to be renting to her.
She was very much aware of it. It was within the agreement that she signed.
Just show me in the agreement where it says you're aware.
Well, she wasn't given mailbox keys or anything.
It doesn't matter. Your agreement with her is in the four corners. Just show me here in the lease with her where she signed that she is aware she's not supposed to be there. Show me.
That was verbal.
It was a verbal agreement.
No, there is no verbal agreement. When you have a contract.
The purpose of the contract was just so that when it was time for her to get out, because she came to me.
Listen to me.
I'm listening.
I'm telling you what the law is. When you have a contract with someone,
question on the law.
a writ of this contract, unless it's signed in the same formality of this contract, is inadmissible. You can't say, for instance, this says $1,500 a month rent, but we agreed that she would pay me $1,750 in cash, or $1,500 and $250 in cash. But that was our agreement. Unless it's in here, it doesn't exist. Do you understand?
I do.
Let's get back to it. You're trying to figure out what it has to do with. So you have a co-op that does not allow you to rent to anyone, your co-op, unless they are vetted by the co-op, like you were when you bought the co-op. Did you have to fill out co-op application?
Of course I did.
Of course. Did you have to submit financials? Of course. Did co-op board have to approve you when you moved in? Of course. That's what a co-op is. I live in co-ops, so I know. Co-op board has to approve you.
I understand.
And they did. And I happen to have one where they say, if you want to rent your co-op, we will allow you to rent, but the tenant has to be vetted, just like you were, because we want to make sure who's living among us. The reason we're living in a cooperative is because we choose the people who we feel will all get along together and who are responsible of your co-op. That's either a yes or a no.
I think we already established that was a yes.
Well,
right?
that's so we established. No,
okay.
I established it was a yes, but you.
No, I was actually trying to figure out
what it had to do with this.
Or in a case where do the defendant speaks before the plaintiff. That's all I was trying to figure out.
It has
you just
everything
jumped over
to do
there,
with it.
so it kind of.
It has everything to do with it, because when I'm figuring out who I'm dealing with as a litigant, I have to figure out whether somebody is going to skirt the rules for their own benefit.
So the benefit.
And for their own benefit, and it has to do with whether or not I'm going to find them credible, because you were certainly willing to fool your co-op board.
Well, Your Honor, we weren't fooling them because we still wanted to reside there. We were actually helping Ms. Charlemagne because, again, we worked together, and she came to me. We had bought our house in August. We didn't move into our house until November when she moved into the apartment, which means we were able to take care of our rent and everything. Yes.
What you said in your complaint was you had the co-op, you moved out of the city, you wanted to keep the co-op for your son. That's what you told me in your complaint. You weren't doing a benevolent thing. You found somebody to cover your expenses while you were holding on to the co-op for your son.
That's what you said. House in August, so we were covering our own expenses. She didn't. She was in a situation where she was unhappy. She's from the ceiling, leaks and everything. She was crying, saying she needed somewhere to live.
In the fall of 2016, my coworker confided in me that she was desperate to leave our current apartment. At around the same time, my husband and I had bought a house, but we did not want to give up our co-op in the city. Our son planned to go to college in the area when he graduated from high school, so it was the perfect place for him to live.
He's
That's
13.
what you wrote.
That's in 5 years. That's understandable.
That's what you wrote. I mean, I understand what happened. I'm 75 years old. You think your story is unique?
No, it's not unique. People help people all the time. I know you helped someone in your past before. You don't let someone come live in your house before.
Listen to me. It's not unique. You had a rule. You circumvented the rule because this lease is only for 6 months.
So to give her time, it was only for her to be able to find somewhere else to live.
How old is your son?
13, I mentioned that. So in 5 years, he would be in college.
What's happening to the apartment now?
Oh, the apartment was taken because Ms. Charlemagne was the witness for the renting office. So that's how we lost the apartment.
So you lost the apartment?
Yes, and I lost
because you were illegally renting it.
No, I lost the apartment.
We were allowing her to live there.
Wait.
No, just tell me why you lost your apartment.
Because Ms. Charlemagne was the witness for my renting office. Until then, I was in court.
You have to do something. You're not a witness out of nothing. A witness usually involves a trial, a hearing, something before an official body. If she's a witness, who was she testifying before?
She was the witness for, obviously, the renting office.
In what kind of proceeding?
She was going against me, of course.
She went to
don't listen to me. Get together on your stories.
You keep cutting us off. You gotta let us speak when you want us to speak, though. That makes sense.
No.
It
What
don't?
I want you to
Okay.
answer is my questions.
And then you want to talk over us when we go to answer.
I want you to answer my questions. I didn't know you had lost your apartment. Now I know you lost your apartment. I want to know in what kind of proceeding did you lose your apartment? Was it in a superior court? Was it in a housing court?
Housing court, of course. It was dealing
Well,
with
not
housing.
necessarily, because housing court usually involves just rental
No,
apartments.
it doesn't. It's just housing court, because that's what I was told when I was speaking of me getting stabbed in the face by a screwdriver.
the people
they said
in
it's in
housing.
I can't take it to criminal with her. It was
Mr.
housing.
Mackay, you're not...
So you cut me off again. Like, if you want me to speak, you can't cut me off.
I don't want
It's
you to
hard
speak. I don't want
if
you...
every time I speak, you chop. You can't do that. It's hard to...
That's because it's my show.
I understand.
Good.
So you get off on that.
Just
you
a
get
second.
off on that.
Just
I got
a second.
You
That's
get off
because
so they
it's
can
my...
laugh. I understand.
You're finished. Goodbye.
Okay.
You're finished. Goodbye.
Okay. You're a rude lady.
Parties are
That's disrespectful.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
One, she didn't pay us May's rent. She went to the housing office,
A security deposit of $5,000.
They weren't friends to begin with, but I thought that, you know, I thought we had a mutual respect, and as co-workers, she wouldn't try to burn me over for money.
To find out how can she stay in the apartment, even though she already signed the agreement that she was only supposed to be there for 6 months.
After all of this kind of behavior, you saw how they behave. That kind of behavior, I couldn't get out of there fast enough.
So it was no reason for her to go anywhere else to find out how she can stay there if you already signed an agreement for 6 months.
But you know what they say, money is the root of all evil, so there you go.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Ilkan versus Cruz Jacobo step forward.
Avisa Ilkan is suing her former landlords, 25-year-old Anthony Cruz and his boyfriend, Luis Jacobo, for the return of her security deposit.
Miss Ilkan, you want your security deposit back from the defendants. They were your landlords. That's what the case is about.
Yes,
right?
Your Honor.
Okay. You rented a room to the plaintiff.
Yes, month to month.
In a house that you own or rent?
Rent.
You...
A family member.
Who?
It's my partner's brother-in-law's mother.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You had to give him 30 days' notice.
That's correct, Your Honor. However, we had an agreement when I had vacated the premises that he had agreed to pay me back my last months in full since I did not stay a full last month.
Did you agree to that?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Avisa Ilkan says former landlords Anthony Cruz and Luis Jacobo are wrongfully withholding her security deposit. The defendants are countersuing for cleaning fees and additional occupant fees.
You rent a house from an owner. Who is the owner of the house?
Well, it's my partner's brother-in-law's mother.
Okay, so nobody related by blood to either one of you?
No.
So it's an arm's distance transaction. How much do you pay in rent for the house?
$2,100.
How many bedrooms are there?
4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms.
How long have you been living there?
2 years.
Do you have a lease?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to take a look at the lease. Well, you've been living there 2 years, but this lease started in June.
Oh, no, that's not our lease. That's her lease. We did not bring
No,
our
I want to
lease.
see your lease.
No, we did not. I wasn't aware that we needed that information.
Do
here.
you have a lease?
Yes, we have a lease.
You and your partner share one bedroom?
Yes.
When you moved in 2 years ago, did you have other roommates?
No, it was family members at the time.
Family members who helped pay rent or did not pay rent?
Yes, everyone always paid rent, and it was always split throughout the household.
And what happened to those family members?
They had to move out for, their own personal reasons, so we had an extra bedroom.
And when was that?
This was December of last year.
Is that when you rented to the plaintiff?
No, we had another roommate before her. She was her second roommate.
Okay, so in December of 2016, you had a free room, you rented it to somebody else. When did they move out?
Mid-February.
That was a short tenancy. Any particular reason?
He couldn't afford it anymore.
How much were you charging rent?
$650.
Who rents the other 2 rooms in the house?
One of them is Vanessa Vasquez, my witness.
And Vanessa pays how much rent?
$650 as well. I have one of our close friends renting another room in the house.
For how much?
$650.
And the plaintiff's rent was?
$650.
So your tenants pay $1,950 and your rent is $2,100. So you pay $150 a month rent.
Yes, plus utilities.
Okay. Listen, that's being, you're a business guy and you are 2 people in a room, right? 2 people. You don't pay any extra, do you?
We provide everything for the household.
No. Like what?
Toilet paper, disposables, our dishes, everything there is ours, our furniture.
I understand. I got it.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I told her that we would work something out because she said it was urgent for her to get back to her mother because she was sick and she had to take less shifts at work. So she had to move back in to help her with her expenses because she couldn't work as much anymore.
Who are you?
I'm her mother.
What's wrong with you?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Avisa Ilkan says, former landlords Anthony Cruz and Luis Jacobo are wrongfully withholding her security deposit. The defendants are countersuing for cleaning fees and additional occupant fees.
You moved in when?
February.
To give them
$250, and I was also expected to pay first and last month's rent when I moved in.
Did you pay last month's rent?
Yes, Your Honor.
$650.
Yes, Your Honor.
$900.
Yes.
You moved out when?
September 1st, 2017.
Did you pay August's rent?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did she pay August's rent?
Yes, she did.
She moved out September 1st. Why doesn't she get her security deposit back?
She did not tell me that she was moving out until August 11th after she had already paid rent for that month. Therefore, September was her last month.
Where? Show me.
In the contract, it's month to month. She had to give me a 30-day notice.
Does it say that in your lease?
No, it does not, Your Honor. It does not say that if I...
Just a second.
Yes.
You had to give them 30 days notice.
Your Honor, I understand.
That's what it says.
That's correct, Your Honor. However, we had an agreement when I had vacated the premises that since I didn't stay for the month of September, he had agreed to pay me back my last months in full since I did not stay a full last month.
Did you agree to that?
I told her that we would work something out because she said it was urgent for her to get back to her mother because she was sick and she had to take less shifts at work. So she had to move back in to help her with her expenses because she couldn't work as much anymore.
Who are you?
I'm her mother.
What's wrong with you?
I was very sick emotionally. I had lost my sister. I couldn't function.
Who do you work for?
I was working for a trauma center.
Tell me the name of the trauma center.
Henry Mayo Newhall Hospital.
Are you still working there?
No, Your Honor.
When did you lose your job?
I quit my job.
When?
August 31st.
Why?
The work hours were very strenuous. I worked 12-hour shifts overnight, and my work was not...
So you moved home?
I had...
So you quit your job and moved home?
Yes, Your Honor.
Great.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by...
Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
So what you told him was really not true.
No, Your Honor.
Right. What you told him was really not true.
Your Honor, I had agreed to move in back home with my mother before I had ever decided to quit my job.
Is there any reason why she doesn't get her $250 security deposit back?
Because she breached her contract, and it also states that in there.
$250 she gets back.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yes.
Now, you have a nonsense counterclaim. Do you want to tell me about it, or you want to remain vertical and we're done with the business?
Well, the counterclaim is for money that she owes for a service that we went over the house rules when she was first there.
You know, I'm getting very bored with this. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I don't feel that, she was entitled to that money. She did break her contract.
I followed the agreement. I paid extra money for my tenants, and I lived there for 6 months.
There was just a lot that wasn't said, a lot of things that, weren't resolved.
They never had any problems. That should speak for itself. They never asked me to leave.
Lesson learned, don't be nice, don't trust people, don't take them for their word.
They had told me that paying for their Halloween party was more of a priority than paying me back for my deposit, so I'm glad at least the judge ruled in my favor for my deposit.
Until recently, you were living with your mom.
A son's eviction creates a scene.
She was trying to kick me out of the house, and she was trying to act like she was going to call the cops. I went and dialed 911, and on accident must have called them.
Then pure drama from Mama.
She grabs the phone out of my hand and tells the dispatcher, my son, he won't get out of my house. He put his hands on me.
She's theatrical.
A little.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Suing her son, 21-year-old Andre Pennington, for an unpaid loan and for adding himself to an insurance policy without her permission.
Order. All rise.
It's case number 329 on the calendar, the matter of Boulware versus Pennington.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat, please.
Miss Boulware, this is your son. It is your claim that he owes you some money.
Yes, ma'am.
How old are you, Mr. Pennington?
21.
And until recently, you were living with your mom. Is
Yes,
that right?
ma'am.
You've always lived with your mom?
Yeah, when I was younger, it was half with my mom, half with my dad until I was about 15.
And then you moved in with your
And
mom?
I was only with my mom.
Do you work, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Who do you work for?
I work for a company called Saddle Point Final Expense Select.
How long have you worked for them?
Since May.
Before that?
Before that, I was a full-time student.
Where?
At Hillsborough Community College.
Did you finish?
No, ma'am.
Why not?
Because when I moved out of my mom's house, you know, I had to pay for rent and I had to pay for bills. So as of right now, you know, I don't have much time to go to school.
Okay. You working full-time now?
Yes, ma'am, from like 10 to 8.
Got an apartment?
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of work do you do with this limousine that you have?
Oh, the limo, I had it as a car. It was a cheap car. It was $1,300 to drive around.
Did you buy that car yourself?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, Miss Boulware, you want to tell me about this alleged loan that you made to your son? When was it and what was it for?
He owes me for car insurance. The loan.
I want you to listen to what my question.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I said, let us talk about this alleged loan. Tell me what it was for, when you made it, month and year.
I loaned him $600 in February before he went to Paris. And I also...
Just a second.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You loaned him $600.
Yes, ma'am.
Before he went on vacation.
Yes,
to
ma'am.
Paris. And who paid for the vacation? He did.
Andre did, correct.
He did.
Yes.
He did. And who was he going on vacation with?
He was going with Lena, his girlfriend.
And he had saved up enough money to buy the plane tickets and pay for a hotel?
Yes, he was kind of flying by the night.
Just a second. The answer is yes.
Yes.
You didn't pay for it?
Yes.
And tell me the circumstances surrounding this alleged loan.
He didn't have money. He was waiting on his student loan, so he didn't have any money when they went to Paris. They just decided literally a week before this that they were going. Lena bought the tickets, their plane tickets, and he needed money for hotel
Don't tell me what he needed. Tell me what...
From you. We're going to Paris, and when I get my student loan, I'm going to pay you.
Okay. And you gave it to him in cash?
Yes, ma'am.
Show me where you took it out from.
Yes, ma'am. There's some there, and then some cash I already had on me.
When did you go to Paris, sir?
I went February 13th, the day before Valentine's Day.
How long were you away?
About a month and a half.
How'd you survive?
Airbnb. It was nice. It was a little scary when we got over there.
Did your girlfriend work?
Yeah, she works now.
Did you work then?
Actually, yeah, she did. She had 2 jobs then.
How much money did you have put away for this trip?
She probably had around, $2,000, and I had around $5,000.
And where did you get the $5,000 from?
From school and saving up money. From
What
her,
school?
too. From Hillsborough Community College.
So you went to Hillsborough Community College and you took out, what, student loans?
Yeah, I had a student loan and a grant.
What kind of grant?
Pell Grant.
Pell Grant?
Yes, ma'am.
But you went to Europe in February.
Yeah, I was going to school while I went over to Europe. I was going to school online at that point, so I didn't have to be in class while I was going to Europe.
Oh, you think I'd buy that? That's ridiculous. That's a half off to go to Europe and use the money that the government gives you that you probably won't pay back if you have to pay it back. And a grant you don't have to pay back.
The grant paid for, you know, my school stuff. The loan was for living expenses, but I was going to school while I was over in Europe. I was doing online classes.
Why can't you do online classes now, sir?
Because I work a lot more. I had time.
Did your mother give you any money when you went to Europe?
No, ma'am.
Didn't give you any? Even
No
didn't
money.
say to you, you know, if you need some cash, I'll give you some cash?
Not a dollar.
Okay. Do you have any proof, Miss Boulware, from him or a witness that you loaned him any money?
At the time, she was not there, but she knows about it from me asking Andre.
Don't tell me what she knows. What else do you think he owes you money for?
Oh, he owes me money for his car insurance.
Starting when?
Starting from February 2016 till
It's not happening. I read your complaint. The complaint said you let him put insurance for one of his cars on your insurance, and you paid for that.
No,
and at a subsequent time, he got another car, and unbeknownst to you, he added that car to your insurance. You didn't look carefully at your statements every month. Carefully, you don't have to look so carefully, for over a year to tell that do you cover on your insurance policy? Nobody, just you and your son's
but
car.
We don't have the same insurance. I had State Farm. I don't use my checking for anything. I use my checking just to deposit and for my rent. I have a credit card that I pay all my bills with. So Dre was paying his car insurance, which I did not say, and you can ask him, I never told him that I would pay. It's been since he's 17, he had a car. You have to work and pay for your own car insurance.
Good. Okay. Now you have a counterclaim, and your counterclaim really is almost as ridiculous as your mother's claim. Your claim is that she illegally evicted you from your house, and as a result of being illegal, you had to fight with her. Do you live together?
No, we do, yes, ma'am.
Okay, and you both work?
Yes, ma'am.
Pretty reasonable for 21. How old are you?
18.
18. Your parents happy about that?
Yeah.
That you're living together?
Yeah.
Really? Terrific. That you and your mother had an argument, she called the police on you for something, and because you had an argument over money?
It wasn't an argument over money.
What was it an argument over?
Me and Lena, my girlfriend, had actually gotten into a small petty argument. I don't even remember what it was. And then my mom come in between, and she, you know, was pushing or putting her hands on me. So then she tried to act like she was in a call. She was trying to kick me out of the house. Okay, I have Andre here. You know, he needs to get out of my house. There's the address. Doing the whole fake routine, and I had no reason, you know, to be afraid of the cops because I didn't do anything wrong. You know, I was respectful.
You were mellow.
I was really mellow, and I didn't do anything, you know, to cause any problems. So then when I seen her doing that, I was like, I'll actually, you know, if you want to call the cops, you can do it on my phone right now because I have no, you know, fear of the cops because I didn't do anything wrong. And I went and dialed 911, and on accident must have called them on my phone, and I went to hang up, you know, and instantly, you know, out of impulse, out of reaction, to protect herself from, I guess, me saying anything on what was happening that night, she grabs the phone out of my hand and tells the dispatcher when they come on, hey, my son, he won't get out of my house, he put his hands on me. And me, you know, I'm sitting there like, I'm thinking, you know, if you look at me, I'm obviously a lot bigger than my mom, but I didn't want any problems when the cops came. I was scared. I thought something was going to happen. The cop came. He seen, you know, how calm I was acting and how mellow I was acting and how angry, you know, she was. He tried to calm her down while I was trying to calm her down. He was standing between us.
She's theatrical. Like she's not getting any money from me because if my kid put together enough money to go to Europe, didn't ask me for any money, he was 21 years old or 20 years old, and he was going away, even though probably was a little irresponsible, but you're only a kid once. And if she gave you $600, all she has here is $500. But if she gave you $600, that wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. At all! So since you have no other proof, and since I don't believe that this mellow young man did anything sneaky behind your back, I think you're just annoyed at something. I'm not sure what.
Excuse me, Your
and
Honor,
I don't.
could you ask Andre?
Actually, I don't care.
Could you ask Andre? Ask him if he owes me the money for my car insurance.
Actually, I don't care. If he said, yes, I owe her the money for the car insurance, I would throw you both out. That's why we're here.
Why?
That's why we're here. I'm going to tell you why. Yeah. Because if he owed you the money for the car insurance, he would pay you. What does he have to come to court for? Do you understand what I'm saying?
I had to take him. He would not pay, so I cancel it.
Do you understand what I just said? If he said to me, yes, I owe her the money, then I would feel as if you were in collusion with each other. I would throw you both out, because if he owes you the money, he should pay you.
No.
Do you understand what I mean?
Correct.
Perfect.
I don't believe
You
that.
mind me saying something?
We're
Judy?
done.
We're
done.
You mind me saying something? I
About
apologize.
what?
For the costs, you know, when I had to move out, she'll agree that I paid her all the insurance.
It's a good thing you moved out of the house.
It really was a benefit to me.
It's a good thing, a benefit.
But when I moved out of the house, I spent all the money. By the time, you know, the limo, I didn't have a car, I didn't have anything.
Now you're on your own. You're 21.
Yeah, and
Perfect. And mellow.
I am, and I'm...
We're done. Goodbye.
So is it that... I apologize.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I mean, I love my son more than anything. No money can come in between us.
I don't owe her anything. You know, I thank her for having me.
But to lie and say that he doesn't owe me thousands of dollars.
But no, I don't owe her anything, and the people...
And he added on his limo to my insurance without my knowledge.
My friends and family watching this will agree.
Oh, I love him. We're gonna go back to normal, but he's still gonna pay me.
I won't have to hear the I owe you money thing anymore.
Oh, believe that.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Moore versus Askew. Step forward.
Tamisha Moore is suing fellow motorist, 24-year-old Tyleisha Askew, for car damage, car rental fees, and pain and suffering resulting from a road rage incident.
The two of you sort of got into a sort of ridiculous road cars that ended up in a collision. This happened 9 months ago. And it is your claim, Miss Moore, that Miss Askew rear-ended you after some chasing around because somebody wouldn't let somebody in to get into their lane, and then somebody sped up, and then brakes slammed, and you both had children in the car? Am I correct? Yes. The defendant says, well, actually, you pulled into a gas station. She followed you. At your request, you told her to come in. She followed you, and then you backed up into her. That's her story.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
In August, you took the car to be fixed, and when they took off the bumper, they found additional damage, so you want $5,000 from her.
Correct.
It's not going to happen.
How is that?
How is that?
Yes.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Tamisha Moore says fellow motorist Tyleisha Askew damaged her car during an incident of road rage.
Now, your insurance company came to do an inspection.
Correct.
On what date?
It was a couple of days later.
And the car was located where when the insurance company came in?
In front of, not at that current time, no. It was only a couple of days later.
So you hadn't taken the car to a mechanic?
No.
Insurance company came, looked at the bumper of your car, and gave you a check for $1,300.
Yes, approximately a month later, they mailed me a check, correct.
Now, when did you take the car in to be fixed?
August.
So the insurance company sent you a check the end of March, and you drove the car March, April, May, June, and July for 5 months, because you drove that car every day, correct?
Correct.
And then what you're telling me is in August, you took the car in to be fixed. And when they took off the bumper, they found additional damage, so you want $5,000 from her.
Correct.
It's not going to happen. Do you understand? It's not going to happen. There was a little road rage going on. Well, I got the basics of all I need for the story, which is...
She said that I backed up into her.
I don't care whether you backed up into her, whether you did a helicopter in a pirouette. The company gave you $1,300 to fix the damage to the car that you allege she caused. They came and they paid you. You chose not to have your car fixed that month with the $1,300 to take the car around for 5 months. And then some little bird said, well, why don't you take the car in to have it fixed now, 5 months later? And 5 months later, after driving the car every single day, you take the car in and you say there was damage to the car found under the bumper that she caused 5 months earlier. I assume this is not a mechanic.
Correct.
So those are your basic facts. And I'm here to tell you, you have no case.
How is that?
How is that?
Yes.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You're not
I was
following
coming from
me.
church.
Just a second. I don't care whether you
my
were coming from temple, whether you were coming from a mosque. I don't care where you were coming from, and I don't care if it was her fault. Listen to me carefully.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Tamisha Moore says, fellow motorist Tylisha Askew damaged her car during an incident of road rage.
I'm here to tell you, you have no case.
How is that?
How is that?
Yes.
Because you can not show me any nexus between any other damage that was done to your car and her. You can't show me any proof that was caused as a result of this accident, which was $1,300. Now, if you said I couldn't drive the car after that, and I didn't drive the car after that, and when I finally took my only car into the mechanic, and the mechanic found lots of other damage, and you had a mechanic here to draw some connection between this incident that happened in March, 9 months ago, and the damage that was done, I would listen to you. You don't have that.
Actually, I was going to take it to another mechanic, and I have a few text messages here of us communicating back and forth.
I don't care.
And also my insurance, communicating with my insurance. He was trying to get approval for my car and the estimates. That's what took so long.
I don't care. Then you shouldn't have signed off on the check because you signed off releasing your insurance company from all claims when you accepted the check, $1,300.
And also the check for $1,300.
Do you understand what I said? You signed off on all claims with your insurance companies when you accepted and cashed the check for $1,300.
I never cashed it until I took my car in to get fixed. I handed the check over to the body shop.
5 months later?
Well, like I told you, I was in the process of communicating with another mechanic that fixed my car previously. Yeah. That's what took so long.
You have no case, Miss Moore. We're done. Goodbye.
Excuse me. I also have my rental car statements, my bill for my rental car that I paid for. I had to come out of pocket.
Listen to me carefully.
I'm proving it.
I need... This is not a mechanic.
Can I show you what happened?
No, I'm not interested in what happened. I'm assuming everything that
down.
You... Listen
I was
to me.
driving. I came from church.
I am assuming everything. You're not
I was
following
coming
me.
from church.
Just a second. I don't care whether you were coming from church, whether you were coming from temple, whether you were coming from a mosque. I don't care where you were coming from, and I don't care if it was her fault. Listen to me carefully.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
You have to show a nexus between the accident and her, and waiting 5 months to listen.
Because I was communicating with my mechanic.
Where? Just a second.
I was chased down in my car with my son. She had her 6-month-old baby in the car. Does that matter?
You're not paying attention. You're not listening. You're closing off the ears.
I spent $1,200 for a rental car.
In what month?
The month I submitted my car to be
Just a second. Listen. In what month did you spend $1,200 for a rental car?
It was over a month my car was in the shop. I had to pay for a rental car over a month.
You're not listening to me. In
August.
This happened in March.
Okay, so isn't there a statute of limitations? Does it matter what month I took?
Attention. Goodbye.
Excuse me. Thank you. You know what?
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
According to me, we were coming from our church. I didn't ever see her. I was making a left onto Grove.
First of all, I'm driving, coming home from church, minding my business.
She honked her horn. She thought I was cutting her off. Truthfully, I was not cutting her off.
I almost ran off the road by some crazy lunatic.
After that, she sped up, cut me off onto Hope. Road ranging, just switching lanes.
With her 6-month-old baby in the car, chasing me down with my son in the car.
So when I pulled into the gas station, she brake checked me, reversed her car, and hit me.
I have to come out of my pocket for damages for my car, a rental car.
It's just tit for tat, honestly. Road rage, hotheads, craziness.
I'm done.
She had broken up with her boyfriend. You were coming right back inside.
He hoped their young love had a second chance.
So she shows up at the party with a new boyfriend, and you didn't like it.
So this ex put his heart on the line.
I said, Madison, I still have feelings for you, so out of respect, can you please leave? This is making me uncomfortable.
Then, her final farewell.
You're going to tell me that you didn't key his...
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
19-year-old William Holland is suing his ex-girlfriend, 19-year-old Madison Kent, for vandalizing his truck.
Order. All rise.
It's case number 330 on the calendar in the matter of Holland versus Kent.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Have a seat, please.
Mr. Holland, you and the defendant dated for a while.
Yes, Your Honor.
From when to when?
We dated from when I moved to Huntington Beach about June of 2015 to end of December 2016 for almost a year and a half.
Did you ever live together?
No. We were still in high school.
But dated exclusively?
What was that?
Exclusively.
Yes.
Do you know what that means?
No, sorry.
Then don't say
Wait,
yes.
I don't know what your question is. Sorry.
When I say exclusively, that means you didn't go out with any other gals and she didn't go out with any other guys.
Yes, we were in a relationship.
You were in a relationship. Well, a relationship doesn't always mean exclusively, but so as far as you were concerned, it was an exclusive relationship.
Yes.
And you?
Yes.
What
But
is
not
that?
on his.
While you were dating?
Yes.
Yeah, possible. Anyway, this case is about your allegation, Mr. Holland, that the defendant vandalized your car. And you say that that happened subsequent to your breaking up.
No.
On what, do you
We
know what
broke up 2
subsequent
years.
means?
We broke...
Just a second. Do you know what subsequent means?
No.
Okay, so then don't say no, because it did happen subsequently, by the way. Happy birthday.
Thank you very much.
Subsequently means after. So your claim is that she vandalized your car after you had broken up.
We broke up 2 years ago, but yes.
So listen.
But yes. But yes, it happened a long time after we broke up. But yes, it happened after we broke up.
I'm going to tell you a little story, Mr. Holland. Maybe you can take a little piece of it away with you. When I was growing up a young person, I had a friend, very nice fellow. His name was Robbie, and he was a smart guy. You think you're a smart guy?
Yes.
What he would do every day is he would write down 10 new words and their meaning from the dictionary. And on his way to work or on his way to school, he would study those 10 new words and figure out how to use them in the vocabulary. Because I'm going to tell you, Mr. Holland, for a young man your age, how old are you?
19.
19. For not to understand what the word is actually shocking. So let's get back to the story. You dated until December of 2016. On what date do you allege that she vandalized your car?
October 20th of 2017.
Mr. Holland, for your information, that is subsequent to December of 2016. That's afterwards.
Yes, Your Honor. Now I understand.
So now you want to tell me what happened in October of 2017?
Okay, October 20th, 2017, we were at a gathering at my friend's party, and she left me for her boyfriend that she was with for another year. So she cheated on me and left me and we had bad terms. I had to fight that dude that she was with. Every time we were at a party, it was just conflict. And then so he cheated on her.
Get to October 20th. I'm not going to solve all the world's
so he
problems.
cheated on her, and then they broke up. I found out about that, so I thought it would be a good idea to make amends and talk to her and become friends again.
When was that?
Probably a week before the incident.
So a week before October 20th, you heard she had broken up with her boyfriend.
Yeah, and since we went...
And you thought it would be a good idea to reconnect.
Yes.
And that was a week prior, so say October 13th.
Yes, Your Honor.
And did you reconnect?
Yes, we did.
Via what?
Via text, person. We hung out a couple times.
Good. And when you say hung out, nothing
we were
more than
friends.
just hanging out?
We were nothing like that. We were just friends,
great. But you were right in there for, there was a break,
yes.
The window, there was a crack in the window, and there you were.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you were hanging out, and then you were at a gathering on October 20th. When you were at a gathering on October 20th, she comes into the party. She comes into the party with the old boyfriend.
No.
With a new boyfriend.
Just a random guy.
Well, it's not a random guy. She came in with a new...
Well, you can say it's her boyfriend's best friend.
She came in with her boyfriend's best... Whatever. She came in with a new guy.
Yeah.
Well, you know, how old is she?
19.
She can do whatever she wants.
Yeah, I
just
know.
like you. Okay. Because I want, you were right in there stealthily to get in. She had broken up with her boyfriend. You were coming right back inside. Listen, so she shows up at the party with a new boyfriend, and you didn't like it. I read the papers.
Okay.
So the person whose house it was or somebody went over to her and asked her to leave. You didn't ask her to leave.
Well, she saw that me and her were talking and asked if there was a problem, and I said, I asked her to leave, she won't, and can you have her leave?
Okay, so you did ask her to leave.
I was like, Maddie, yes, I told her I felt uncomfortable.
You went up to her.
Yes, I for you, so out of respect, can you please leave? This is making me uncomfortable, plus this is my friend's party, and I was here first. And then after that,
just
the
a second.
friend told her to leave.
So, feel uncomfortable with you here with your boyfriend, so you leave. How did you know the people at this party, by the way?
The guy that I went with, he was mutual friends with him, and if I would have known Will was there, I wouldn't have gone.
The fellow that you went with to the party was a friend of the person who was having the party?
Correct.
Okay, so he was an invited guest. Person you were with?
Yes.
Okay. Just for your information, Mr. Holland, if I went to a party and my ex-husband was there, who is a terrific person, and I like him a lot, but let's say I didn't, and I went to a party, and he was there, and I was uncomfortable, you know what I would do?
You would have left.
Right! I wouldn't say, I was here first, you have to leave. She says, I'm not uncomfortable that you're here. If you're uncomfortable, leave. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
You know, grow up. Exclusively subsequent. Grow up. So after she said, I'm not leaving, you went to the host of the party.
The host saw and asked what was going on.
Don't tell me what anybody saw, because that calls for an operation of their mind. Do you understand? So the host of the party then told her to leave?
Yes.
And she left?
Yes.
And it was at that point that you want to pick up and tell me what you saw.
I was peeking outside the window.
Peeking?
Yes. Taking a check about every 30 seconds, and because I just got a brand new truck and I wanted to make sure it was safe, and I knew since this incident just happened, probably something was going to go down. So I was just making sure, checking outside the window, saw her key my car, go and hop inside the lift, and then take off. After she left, I went outside to go see my truck, took a walk around, saw it, called her right away. And I just got my truck a month ago, so I would know if it was there. It's a brand new truck, and I would have noticed.
Okay, can I see photographs of the truck?
Yes, of course. I also have a video. It's like a 3-foot long scratch. I have a clear video of it if you would like to see that as well.
I got it. Okay. Yes.
Yes.
You're going to tell me that you didn't key his truck?
No, I didn't.
I don't believe you.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Do you have a phone? He called you immediately after you left.
No, Your Honor.
No.
He called me, but he called me 3 hours later.
But he called you?
Yes.
And later today.
When did you make him this loan?
September, with the understanding
No,
that...
no, don't give me an understanding. Are you going to tell me under what circumstances you made him this loan?
With the understanding he was not...
Don't tell me what an understanding is. I already told you.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
William Holland says ex-girlfriend Madison Kent vandalized his truck at a party.
Okay, I actually am not quite convinced 100% that he saw you key his truck. But I know this. If I said to him, when you parked the truck there, did it have a scratch? No. When you went to get your truck, did it have a scratch? Yes. Do you have a phone log to show me that on the 20th, he called you immediately after you left? He's going to be able to show that to me. Not what you said, necessarily, but he's going to be able to show me that he called you immediately, right?
No, Your Honor.
No.
No.
He didn't call you on the 20th?
He called me, but he called me 3 hours later.
Okay.
After
I left. Just a second. But he called you?
Yes.
He actually ran out and looked at his truck and saw you, saw it right after. But I know that he called you because when he saw the truck scratched, he knew that you did it, and that's why he called you. Now, he wouldn't have called you otherwise because he had asked you to leave the party, because he didn't want to have, I still have feelings for you, and I'm uncomfortable. So other than the truck, he wouldn't have called you.
Yes.
Now, when he called you 3 hours later, on the 20th, what you discussed was the truck.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, may I see the estimate for the truck?
I have 3 different estimates.
It is a brand new truck, 2017 truck.
Yes, Your Honor.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,100. We're finished. Thank you.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I didn't key his car.
She damaged it with the key.
I'm scared and threatened for my life because of him.
I'm smaller than her. What can I do?
Is he still in love with me?
Yes, I do, but I know that she's not good for me.
Leave as soon as possible.
She's trying to make me look bad.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter, Wyman versus Wyman. Step forward.
Karen Wyman is suing her son, 22-year-old Justin, on payment on a car.
Mrs. Wyman, this is your son. You're suing him for the return of what you say is a loan. He said it was not a loan. How old are you, Mr. Wyman?
22.
When did you make him this loan?
September of 2015, and with the understanding
No,
that...
don't give me an understanding. In September of 2015, 2 years ago, so he was 20.
Correct.
Now, you're going to tell me under what circumstances you made him this loan.
I loaned him the money to put down on a down payment on a lease car with the understanding he was not...
Don't tell me what an understanding is. I already told you.
Okay.
You loaned him the money to put down on a leased car?
On a leased car.
What kind of a car did you lease?
It was a 2015 Ford Focus.
Do you still have it?
No.
What happened to it?
I traded it in and got a 2017 Ford Fusion.
When did you do that?
2 months ago, roughly.
When your mom paid for, whether it was a gift or a loan, this money for a down payment, it was around $2,000.
Yeah.
Were you in school?
I was in culinary school in Chicago.
When you went to school in Chicago, where does your mom live?
At the time, I believe, Michigan.
At the time that you went to Chicago to culinary school, did you have a car?
No.
So you were getting to school by public transportation?
Public transportation, yes.
Parents are divorced?
Yes.
And when you moved to Chicago, you moved in with your father?
Yes.
Okay. Now you can tell me the circumstances surrounding what you say is a loan.
I have 4 boys that I've bought a car for. I bought their first car, each one of them.
When you say you bought it, does that mean you made them a gift?
The first car was a gift. Yes, ma'am.
And this young man, what did you buy for him?
It was 96 Jimmy when he was still in high school, that he drove to school every day. I paid for the gas, the insurance. That was his first car.
Is that correct?
No. That car was a gift from my grandpa to her, and she didn't...
Just a second. So it was a gift from your grandfather to your mom.
Right.
And your mom gave it
to me.
To you, correct?
Yes, after numerous repairs, but yes.
I don't care.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Do you understand where this young man is coming from?
Oh, totally, I do.
I wouldn't sue one of my children for $2,000. I don't know if I'd sue him for any amount of money, especially when you have a son that looks like he's doing so okay.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Karen Wyman says her son, Justin Wyman, borrowed money from her to buy a car and has never paid her back.
Okay, you didn't buy this car for him. It was a gift to you. I just want you to know where he's coming from.
Oh,
I understand where he's coming from.
Yeah.
But you bought your other children their first car. And let's take each. You have 3 other sons?
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am.
Tell me what you bought. What are your brothers' names?
Jake, Jarrett.
What did you buy for Jake?
A red Pontiac, I believe.
And how much did you pay for it?
$2,000.
Next brother's name?
Jarrett.
Jared.
96 Pontiac, and it was $600.
Next brother's name?
Jonathan.
Jonathan had a Pontiac, a Grand Am.
And how much did you pay for it?
$1,600.
And you felt by giving him a car that you had gotten as a gift from your father, it was the equivalent of what you spent in money for your other sons?
Yes, because I had to pay for a transmission before I ever got the car. So I had to put transmission into it and tires, which cost almost $1,000.
Correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So you got more than Jared and less than one of your other brothers, for whom she spent $2,000 on a car.
Yeah.
Now, your brother's next cars, I assume they bought for themselves.
Jarrett, I believe she paid for a Ford Focus. She gave him $1,500 down, I believe.
For Jared?
For Jarrett.
Did you give money towards another car for one of your other sons?
No, I didn't. What I did was co-sign for his car, and he was living that rent money to him.
So you made a gift.
Correct.
Do you understand where this young man is coming from?
Oh, totally, I do.
Okay. So he, in his mind, says, well, if you did that for one brother, you can do it for me, right?
Yeah.
But when your mom, and I'm going to tell you, Miss Wyman, I wouldn't sue one of my children for $2,000. I don't know if I'd sue him for any amount of money, especially when you have a son that looks like he's doing so okay, because I think that creates bad feeling over what apparently is not something that is life-altering to you, because you have 4 sons that clearly you raised. You bought them their first cars. You advanced them other money, whatever. So I don't know what the current is that causing you to be here. I don't know, but I certainly want you to know I'm sympathetic with the way he feels, because what he feels is that the brothers weren't treated equally. Did your mother, when she gave you this down payment, tell you that it was a loan?
No.
What did she say to you?
I asked her to help me out with a car, and she...
I called her up and I said...
Mom, can you, buy me a car? Like, give me the down payment for a car, and she said yes.
And that was it?
That was it.
And that was 2 years ago?
Yes.
And when for the first time did she ask you for money?
Whenever I got out of culinary school.
Did you get a job?
Yeah, I was working, like, part-time.
And what did you say?
I said I didn't know I owed you money.
And what did she say?
She said it was a loan.
She said, I expected you to pay me back when you started working.
Yes.
Did you tell him that when you made the down payment?
When I loaned him the money, yes.
When you gave him the down payment, what did you tell him?
I told him I would gladly help him, but he could pay me back as soon as he got out of culinary school and was working.
And what did he say?
And he said, that would be fine. Thank you so much. I appreciate your help. I couldn't do this if it wasn't for you helping me.
Okay. And at that time, he was living with his father?
Correct.
Okay. Were you happy about that?
That's where he wanted, and it was close to school, so
no,
yes,
I'm just asking you a question. He seems to suggest in his answer to me that that was annoying to you. You wanted him to live with your sister.
Oh, no, that fell through, so no, not at all. I was happy with
She said that's not the case.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Are you in a family dispute? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Go ahead.
Well, what happened was we went to my aunt's house. She lives in Chicago, so that would have been more convenient. So I went there with the notion that she would let me live there, because for family, no charge for rent or whatnot. And we went to live there, and I didn't want to do that. So my dad was like, you can come move in with me for free. So I was like, well, why wouldn't I pick that over that?
But what made you think that your mother was not happy with that?
Well...
Because she gave you the money afterwards.
As soon as that happened, our relationship kind of fell off. She's not very fond of my father, so...
Okay, how much was the down payment?
Down payment was $2,069.25.
Mr. Wyman, as I said to your mother, I would not... You're working now?
Yeah.
In the culinary business? Yes. Good. You happy?
Yeah.
Great. As I said to your mother, I would not choose to sue one of my children that apparently at age 22 is living on his own, independently, working, graduated from culinary school, making a living and doing well enough to trade in one car and get another. It would not be my modus operandi.
Right.
She wants her money back. $2,069. Judgment for the plaintiff. They're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I don't owe her any money.
Well, I'm glad I won, but I'm not happy that I had to be here to sue my son.
She's about her money, I guess.
He's just got to stand up and man up and do what he needs to do.
I wouldn't expect